Welcome to the Global Medical Device Podcast, where today's brightest minds in the medical device industry go to get their most useful and actionable insider knowledge direct from some of the world's leading medical device experts and companies.
Oh my goodness, can you believe it? That's right. We have been doing the Global Medical Device Podcast now for quite a few years, and this is a special episode because this marks episode number 100. That's right. A round of applause. In all seriousness, folks, this is one of the best things that I get to do as part of my job. It makes the ride so much more enjoyable. And it's not going to be a super long or informative podcast today, but I do want to hit on or touch on a few of the highlights that, some of my favorite moments, if you will, from the Global Medical Device Podcast. Let me remind you of a few that were really exciting for me and some of the folks that I've gotten to talk to. So I got to talk to some human factors experts. Man, there are no better resources out there on the topic human factors than Mary Beth Privitera. Mary Beth is principal human factors expert with HS Design. She knows her stuff. She's written books about it. I always enjoy talking to her. But not to be outdone, I want to remind you all of Bryant Foster in the VP of Research and Design at Research Collective. Also very pragmatic, very helpful advice and tips when it comes to human factors. I'm going to share all of these episodes that I'm talking to you about today. I'm going to share links to all of those in this the copy that accompanies this particular episode. But human factors, big topic these days. You all know this. Research Collective, HS Design, two fantastic firms to consider working with your human factors challenges. I'm a product development nerd. I'm a design control nerd, and I geek out when I get to talk to some folks, or when I've had a chance to talk to some folks on the topic of design controls and product development. And we've had some really, really good guests on that topic as well. My good buddy David Amor. David is doing some fantastic things now with therapeutics, but prior to that, he did a lot of consulting. He's an expert with David on design controls and product development. I've had the real opportunity to share the stage with him a few times. We've done some webinars together on design controls. He understands the difference between research and development. We dove into that on an episode a while back. Really fantastic dude. If you get a chance to meet him, just a real fresh perspective, real progressive perspective on best practices and ways to structure and organize your product development process, David Amor. Another gentleman that I always enjoy talking to, and he is the director of product development at GCMI down in Atlanta. This guy, Mike Fisher, he's been at big companies, he's worked for smaller companies, but he talks about product excellence a lot if you have a chance to talk to him, and understanding how important the process is to leading you towards that product excellence. So again, another really fresh perspective on medical device product development. One other guy, when I'm talking about product development that I've been admiring for quite some time is Scott Phillips. Scott is the CEO of Starfish Medical, and the firm Starfish Medical, they've been doing this, I think, for over 20 years now, but really fantastic work that they're doing. And they've been really leading the charge with medical device product development for quite some time. So check out the work that they're doing. And again, I'll share that episode where Scott and I talked about value proposition from a product development standpoint. A few other folks that are also worth mentioning that are top of the field that are, frankly, they're assets that you should know about. First guy I want to mention to you on this space, and this is kind of getting into like regulatory and product testing and safety. A guy named Leo Eisner. Leo is principal consultant of Eisner Safety Consultants. The reason I bring him to your attention, we've done some podcasts, we've done some webinars with Leo. He is the 60601 guy. He knows that standard inside and out. He's always involved with the latest, greatest revisions and updates to that standard, but if you're dealing with an electromechanical device and you need to deal with electrical safety, there's none other that knows his stuff when it comes to IEC 60601 other than Leo Eisner. So be sure to check him out. One of my favorite people to talk to in the world. Man, I just laugh every time she and I chat, and I'm smiling from ear to ear even thinking about it right now. But Allison Komiyama, she is principal consultant with Acknowledge Regulatory Strategies, and she's used to be with FDA. She was on the review side from FDA, so she's kind of been on the inside. Now she's working with companies of all shapes and sizes with really progressive regulatory strategy. I know she's starting a new event in her world, regulatory affairs, a group. She's got an event coming up later this year in 2019. So you're going to want to check out what Acknowledge Regulatory Strategies is doing. They're trying to lead the charge, get regulatory professionals together talking about best practices. So Allison Komiyama, she's really is truly one of my favorite medical device people in the world. I love the work that they're doing. A couple other folks that I want to mention, and I'm going to share all of these podcasts for you. These are all things. Hopefully you've already listened to them. If not, go take a listen. Be sure that you're going back in time and listening to some of these episodes. Some really good stuff. As I reflected back on doing this for over 100 episodes now, we've had a chance to cover a lot of ground, a lot of topics. But you might remember back in 2018, we got involved at Greenlight in kind of helping promote the FDA Case for Quality initiative. And I was at an event on the Case for Quality, and there was a gentleman speaking about, giving an update on the pilot. And this guy, his name's Zack. George is with Two Harbors Consulting. And during this presentation, he was talking about the medical device discovery appraisal program and the work that he and CMMI Institute have been doing as part of the pilot program. And I asked a question, and it was interesting because George had his body language shifted. He reacted in some way, and I didn't pick up until later that the reason his body language shifted is he recognized my voice from the Global Medical Device podcast. So, we had a good laugh about that. But George has been a guy I've talked with quite a few times, and we're doing some work with, and just really trying to promote best practices, especially around quality systems and business systems within a company. So, expect to hear more here soon from George, Zack, and Two Harbors Consulting and Case for Quality. A couple other folks while I'm at it. A guy that I met quite a few years ago, and at the time, he was venturing into the consulting world in the medical device industry. And he had an idea, and he knew that, obviously we had an idea, or I had an idea once upon a time at Greenlight Guru that we turned into a software platform. And he shared some of his idea, and I shared some of the stories that we went through, some of the challenges, some of the things that we learned the hard way, and that sort of thing. And then he put his head down, and he has done the same thing. So, Gianoutsos, Jim is founder and president of RIMS's regulatory management software. So they have built a fantastic platform to really help with regulatory product registration and a whole lot more. But Jim, we did a recent episode with him where we talked about streamlining the regulatory authorization process, and it's just a really fresh look at things as well. So good one to listen to. I think of all the episodes that I've done, the one where I get the most emotional, the most choked up in a good way was when I was talking with Andrew DiMeo. At the time, Andrew was a biomedical engineering professor at UNC and North Carolina State. A little known fact, University of North Carolina and NC State, they have a joint biomedical engineering program. But anyway, at the time, Andrew was a professor of BME there. And we had been working together. Greenlight had been working with UNC, NC State, and some of the things that they're doing to try to teach design controls and risk and other quality system best practices in the classroom for undergrads. And he shared a moment where Greenlight is really making a difference in helping to inform and educate students on how to be medical device professionals. So when you listen to that, you might hear my emotional reaction, but it was sincere. I really do love giving back to this community, to this industry. Like I said, this Global Medical Device Podcast, it's one of the best things that I get to do. And of course, I would be remiss if I didn't mention maybe one of the more popular guests that we've had on the Global Medical Device Podcast, and that would be Mike Drews, president of Vascular Sciences. I tell you, man, he is, when it comes to progressive, creative, innovative, regulatory approaches and strategies, this guy is on his game. So we've had a lot of chats over the years. We've gotten to know each other pretty well. We love talking about regulatory and from time to time quality, but you're going to want to give his episodes a listen to. While I've got your attention for a few moments, I think one of the coolest things that we've gotten to do, and this is more recent, is we've really launched another brand when it comes to podcasts. We recently launched the MedTech True Quality Stories. And as we've rolled this out, and I've had chances to talk to a couple of CEOs and med device professionals who are really in the trenches, the stories that I get to hear from these folks, some of the challenges they've had to overcome, some of the dreams that they've had for their products, and the way that they have just been driven companies and driven individuals and driven leaders to get their product to the market. It's just, I love living vicariously through these stories, but just really fantastic. So you're definitely going to want to go check out the new podcast from Greenlight Guru, Med Tech True Quality Stories. So anyway, like I said, short and sweet today. I wanted to share some of my favorite moments, some of my favorite episodes on the Global Medical Device Podcast. Here soon, I'll be sharing, I'm sure, with you some of my favorite moments from MedTech True Quality Stories. And as always, I'm honored to be your host and the founder and VP of Quality and Regulatory at Greenlight Guru, Jon Speer.